What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wizards Outlook. Wilson Tarpe Jr. solo tonight. But look, the Wizards in their second preseason game. The reserves go off in the fourth, complete the rally over the Hornets 98-92. We'll get through all of it little by little. Got some thoughts on this game. See my guy Area 11 in here off the early. I'm going to get to you in just a second. Like always, we appreciate you being here early with the comments. I'm going to get through some business real quick. And we continue to have a discussion. But again, appreciate you early on with the comments. All right. At least in the first half, just some things. We know how the game started. Washington starts. Nice live from Tyus Jones and Daniel Gafford. Then the Hornets is going a 14-0 run. Washington turned the ball over 6 times in that opening period. And honestly, just want to give credit to Charlotte's defense. I saw something the other day. It was Steve Clifford talking about how excited he was about this group. And if anybody, you watched the NBA long enough, or if you're a Wizards fan, you know what Steve Clifford's about. If death taxes in the defensive end of the floor. So if he's excited, it means he feels like he has a good group on that end, which means they're probably going to be hell to deal with in terms of trying to score on Charlotte. And that was evident in the first half of this one. Saw guys flying around. I think I was impressed. We saw LaMelo Ball using his size on the defense end of the floor. Even on the glass, I think he finished with 7 boards. But yeah, that's what I just walked away very impressed by in the opening period. And obviously, Washington with a slow start. You saw them kind of close the gap a little bit in terms of ending the quarter kind of strong. The second quarter, they started the second quarter with another one of those lineups. And again, it's preseason. We'll see what things look like as the regular season starts and how it goes throughout the course of the season. In terms of what that second quarter lineup looks like, who's on the floor, who's not on the floor. But it started with, it was Wright, Davis, Gallo, and Muscala. And Washington struggled a little bit more offensively with that group than defensively. So I give them credit for they were active on the defensive end with that group. They were getting stops at times. One of the biggest themes of tonight was they would have several possessions where they played good defense. They couldn't end the possessions. The Hornets ate on the glass all night, which is something I get to. They were on their way, they could see 70 in terms of the numbers of boards they had on a night, and that really hurt Washington with the second chance opportunities where they would initially play solid defense. But you know how it goes. The possession's not over until you secure the defensive rebound. And that was something that was just challenging all night for Washington. I also thought the Charlotte guards did a good job just penetrating and finding their bigs. Both Mark Williams and Nick Richards did a great job just being big tonight on both ends, clogging up the paint, changing shots, blocking shots, altering shots. And then on the offensive end, if Gaff or whoever the center was might move over to contest the shot, Washington didn't do a good job of somebody else putting the body on the big, and they made them pay on the offensive glass. One of the things Washington did do well tonight, and they did this a little bit the other night too, was just running off of makes. So even when they were going through it a little bit, you saw them running off of makes just to kind of make up for some of it, right? And running off those makes, it worked out for them. Sometimes they got easy twos. Other times, they got fouled. So they got to the line, try to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit. Then, we all saw that big play, saw Brandon Miller with the dunk on Gaff. And we know how athletic Gaff is, man. Like super athletic. It's just like I hope we don't see him try to take too many more charges, man. Just go up there, go get that. If you lose, you lose. It is what it is. But that's gonna be around. It's the day and age we're in, that is going to be viral. I saw. I think it was instantly it hit the timeline, went crazy. Whether it counted or not, it was just nuts. And then Washington struggled. They got some clean looks from the 3-point line. Just they shot 2 for 18. In the second half, we didn't see any more LaMelo Ball. Both teams a little bit sloppy. And then we just saw them continue on the glass. But the third quarter, big third quarter for Bilal Coulibaly. We saw the Wizards' first-round pick. And love watching him play. He's just a cool customer, man. Just not that he's been in the NBA before, but clearly he's a pro. When he learns the league, as Cardell's mentioned, Ray's mentioned, can't wait to see what that looks like, right? But during that quarter, you got to see some of the other stuff see some of the things that he has in his bag already, that he might be more than just, early on, going to be a defender. come in, get stops, and that's great. We saw him coming off his pin downs, knocking down a shot, having the ball a little bit in pick and roll situations, knocking down catch and shoot threes. He had 10 of his, what do you have tonight? He had 12 points tonight, 10 of which came in that third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, we just watched the reserves go in and compete their butts off, man. And you know, it's kind of a new regime and whatnot. That's all you really want. If that's something they talked about, wanting to be competitive, their competitiveness was going to be a strength of theirs this year. And you know, you guys been around, you know, these parts long enough, being around sports. Sometimes words are just words, but through 2 games we've seen it, right? And obviously the year hasn't even really begun, so we'll see where that goes. Take a look at these comments in a second. What's going on, Big J? Biggie Steve, again, I'm gonna get to y'all in just a little bit, man. I got a little bit left, and I'm gonna shut my mouth and start. Not gonna shut my mouth, but I'll start responding to you guys. I guess, you know, where was I? I was getting my last, I guess, just the overall takes for the night. But that fourth quarter group, right? It was Ryan Rollins, Jared Butler, Johnny Davis. I gotta say his last name slow because I mess it up. Gino Omarui, and Mike Muscala. 35-17, they won that fourth quarter. They competed their butts off, and it led to a win. Again, in the grand scheme of things, you know, no one's going to think too much about, hey, we're 2-0 in preseason. But I like the fact that that part of the roster came in, and they were competing like, you know, like the game was very much still on the line for them. It didn't matter. And that's something, you know, again, new regime trying to establish who you are. Them competing like that, it went a long way to me. I'm looking forward to see how that continues going forward. Just some things, you know, bigger picture things. Bilal, just continue to walk away impressed from this one. He's not fazed by being here. I love that we saw a little bit more of his offensive game in the third quarter, as I mentioned. I thought the flow offensively wasn't as smooth as Tuesday, and much of that had to do with Charlotte. You just got to give them credit. They were harassing Washington. Jordan Poole still looks like he's trying to find that balance, which is very understandable, of being aggressive and or picking his spots. Seems like Kuz has already kind of walked that line already, but he's been here. Makes sense. Again, going to the rebounding, man. Charlotte won on the glass 66-48. 16 of those 66 were on the offensive glass, which led to a ton of their second chance points. And then the Hornets look very good on the defensive, man. As a group, their size and athleticism, you know, in the wing and in their front court, you saw it throughout the night. Regardless of that, I think Washington still finished with more blocks. And then again, their competitiveness, man, just as a whole. Thought Washington showed a lot as far as that went. But let's go ahead and get to some of these comments. I got you guys. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Area 11T. Rough night for the starters. No, it's only one game. Some observations. Yeah, it's going to take time. They're going to gel. You know, I don't take too much out of it. I think what I took more so out of it was that as bad as the start was, it didn't balloon into something worse, right? Which is what I wanted to see, because Tuesday night, you know, you didn't see any. It's not a knock on the NBL team, but you didn't expect to see too much adversity, right? Came in, Steve Clifford coach team. You know what Cliff's all about. I'm going to keep saying that. And they harassed him, you know, got down early, and we kind of walked back into the game to where I think, what were they down, 10 at the end of the first? Where that obviously could have went worse. It could have been a bigger lead. So the team came out sluggish. Yeah, and again, still gonna give some of that to Charlotte too. I think just Charlotte came out very aggressive on the defensive front, and Washington took a second to kind of like counter and start just to recover rather. Sorry, counter wasn't the right word. Caesar tried to target Poole and Kuz, defensively, especially in the PNR. Yep, I think everybody knows, and that's on those two. You know, leaders of this group, kind of the big guns here. You got to do your best to minimize it, man. It is what it is. If again, what everyone's been saying about this group being this competitive, it needs to be on that end of the floor too, right? For sure. We heard Cardell praising him the other night. You know, Ray has as well. And Yeah, man, there was several times a night I think what I was impressed by with some of his teammates at times, just out of position a little bit, maybe gamble for a steal, and you don't have to say anything. He's quietly just plugging, let me plug this till they get back, or let me just take this matchup until he can get back to whoever he's closest to, just doing a lot of little things, man. Again, he's been here before to a degree. He's a former pro player, and I think that's something folks got to keep in mind. I know we hear age and go, oh man, youngster, youngster, youngster. It's a different type of experience. Like being a former pro overseas is still a little bit different than being one and done, right? You can see where we missed a guy like Denny, at least with that second unit. Yeah, especially with the rebounding, and I think the fun part's going to be figuring out their second unit, right? There's still a lot of folks missing, Washington. We talked about Charlotte's size on the wing. Washington has great size on the wing. They just don't have great size, in the post, right? And how you make up for it, you got Denny, Shamit's a bigger guard. Patrick Baldwin Jr. is not healthy right now. They're missing some folks that could help, in that department. And the second unit's going to be interesting because, we're seeing Bilal start right now. I'm going to assume once the regular season starts, he will be a part of that second group to get things going, if that. So we'll see. Gas really get rim protected, but he needs some help for sure. And that's when it goes too. Like when he comes up to contest a shot, somebody got to roll down and hit his man. Take the L, hit his man. Big J, yes sir, that dude Eugene, yeah. Interested to see how he goes about carving out a role on this roster, right? Poole looked terrible, and Kispert hit the side of a barn. For sure, it's a rough night shooting, man. But again, it's a second preseason game, man. I'm not going too far. I don't even, honestly, I'm not going to lie. Like, their offense, and you guys have heard us say this over and over again, right? Like, not too concerned about it, man. Compete defensively, and I'm cool. They'll figure it out on offense. Give them time, man. They'll be all right. Only bright side was be cool. Johnny Jacuzzi, he keeps the turnovers low. Yeah. Agree with everything you said. I don't agree with it was the only bright side of the night. But, yeah, man, it's a second preseason game, and they got to gel, man. Like, you have, both. I think it's a little easier for Tyus to get comfortable, the type of point guard he is. For JP, I think it's going to take a little bit longer than it has taken Tyus, or that it will take Tyus. Two totally different guards. But Jordan to figure it out, man. I want to see Tyus Jones take more shots, especially if either Pool Party, Jacuzzi are off during some of these games like tonight. Again, it's the second game of preseason. I wouldn't even read too much into it. The thing with Tyus Jones, the type of point guard he is. I think in a regular season game or whatnot, he probably would. I think he has a great sense. Like, one of the things that makes him so good is he has a great sense of how to run the unit on the floor, right? He knows what the team needs when they need it. And I think right now still trying to get comfortable and fill everybody out as well. I think he's ahead of Jordan in that regard, but, you got to let them get comfortable with everybody. 9 for 40 from three-point range is 22%. Not good at all. Got to know when to hang it up, or we'll have another reenactment of last year, especially when West not calling him out on it. For sure. I would say it didn't feel as... how times last year when they got to taking threes, it just felt like I haven't had the ball in a while. I'm taking this shot, right? It didn't feel too much like that. It felt more like tonight they were generating decent looks. They were just cold, man. Again, you don't want to see anybody go 9 for 40. But I thought the reserves did a better job of just attacking. Like, just attacking. And that's something where I praised Kuz at the beginning of the game because I thought he did a good job of not jacking threes, because we saw that last year at times. It was like, why are you taking that three? I thought he took most of the threes he took tonight, maybe except one, was in rhythm. So I think this group's kind of a little bit different. I get that you guys kind of been like scarred from last year to a degree, but yeah, I just be patient, man. It's so very early, and keep in mind, like, all the pieces aren't on the board yet, right? Like I think Shamit's going to be a very solid piece here, but he hasn't touched the floor yet, and it's going to be a while before he does, right? You said, what's your bold take for this year? If you could do me a favor, ask me opening night of regular season, and I got you. Let preseason play all the way out. But just run this back for me, Area 11T, and remind me that I said I was going to answer it, and I got you. My only worry on offense was the half-court offense with the second unit. Yeah, and again, we don't know who the second unit is right now. Like, I think for sure who we might know is, like, DeLon Wright's probably on it, right? Like, I think that's the only person we know for sure, or DeLon Wright and Gallo. Outside of that, we don't know yet. We don't know if it's Gallo and Muscala, or is it going to be Gallo and somebody else, or how, like, what guards are going to be on it. You know what I'm saying? So I would just be a little bit patient. I know everyone's excited, but it's the second preseason game, and this was only the first preseason game against another NBA side. And again, all the pieces aren't available for West to mess around with just yet. So, I just wouldn't get too far ahead of myself at the moment. I'm glad you touched on the subject. We need another big. I would not picking up. You mean Kai Jones? Or I just want to double check. Biggie Steve, please let me know. See you say Ty Jones. I'm assuming you mean Kai Jones coming off the bench. Yeah, I would I get what you're saying about another big. I don't know if I'd mess with that right now because I don't know that whole situation. So exactly like what's going on with him. So I mean, I think you could wait and see what it looks like. But right now, look, man, it's the roster for the most part. I think when you get more size, you're gonna have Denny 6'9", 6'10". You're gonna get PBJ at some point if he can crack the rotation at again 6'9", 6'10". They just got to come down and board. It's not like they don't have size. They just don't have. You don't have your 7-foot centers or whatever on this roster. It is what it is. You got to do this group. And the thing is, like, there's guys who aren't that much shorter. Like, there's several guys on this team who pretty much look Gaff eye to eye. If Gaff goes and contests a shot, bro, you about the same height. Go box out. Go box out. The nights when you played all-world centers, it's all hands on deck, even if you had a center. It is what it is. So, as a group, they gotta rise to the challenge in terms of hitting the glass. And again, Area 11T, I got you. Y'all have any more? Give y'all a couple minutes before we close up shop. Again, they got 2 games next week. I want to say Wednesday and Friday next week. The Knicks and the Raptors away games, so we're trying to do playback and then Wizards Outlook as usual. And appreciate y'all as always, man. Hit in the comment section. It is fun talking to you all. And obviously, I think probably have more than just me talking to you, so it's not just my take on it. But we truly appreciate y'all. You guys know the playback link, right? You're free to come watch the games with us. And again, what we're going to try to do is do the playback rooms even when one of us is in the arena for home games. So still watch the games with you guys if you guys want to join us in that way. And then have whichever one of us is in the arena, join playback during halftime, talk a little bit there, and then slide over to Wizards Outlook after the game to talk again with y'all here. So, I said like a couple minutes, so yeah, I'm at like 18-14 right now when it hits 19. Probably gonna call it a night. Appreciate you all for tuning in, whether live or later. But Washington goes 2-0 in the preseason. We'll see what it looks like next week with back-to-back games. Not back-to-back games, but you got 2 games next week. Day in between them with the Knicks and the Raptors. Okay, got you. If we don't get another big, especially 1 7-foot or higher, we're going to get eaten up on the boards because Gallo can't hang those bigs that Charlotte had tonight. Yeah, I mean, look, man, it looks the team's constructed how it's constructed. But, again, you have more size than most teams have on the wing. Like, your 3s and 4s are huge. Go down there and get a board. If LaMelo Ball could come crash and get 7 boards, there's no, like, we seen games last year when Denny and Kuz had big nights on the glass. We challenge everybody else to come down there and do the job too. But we'll see. Don't know what they're going to do. Obviously, maybe they do add another big. We'll see how things shake out. It's only week 2 of preseason, man. But, yeah, the glass is an issue. But there's many ways to go about that. There's been many good rebounding teams that it was all hands on deck to do it. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta go handle your business. They're talking about how competitive they are as a group. That's the area which they're gonna have to show it. They are truly going to have to show it. But Biggie Steve, Area 11T, Big J, appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great night, and we see y'all next week.